Hey there, party people, welcome back to the Anime Void. To get right to it, I'm fairly certain that a lot of us love the concept of the Pretender class. It is a super cool idea for a heroic spirit, and there is actually quite a lot that can be done with it. On the same coin, however, we all have problems with it. Now, I'm unsure if a lot of people are talking about the issue, but I'm willing to bet that at one point or another, most of you have felt this way. The Pretender class made a very strong introduction, but since then has become very muddied and confusing and lackluster. So to build up on this whole idea and get to the problem, let's go over what the Pretender class is meant to be. The way that it works is where a person assumes the role of another and goes on to achieve deeds with that name or title. That is ultimately the simplest way to explain it. Masked identities such as Zorro or Batman don't count as qualifying, however. The best example to explain the entire concept is to go with the theory that Francis Drake in Fate Grand Order is Queen Elizabeth I. The idea, as expressed in Fate Extra itself, is that the two had swapped places in life. While they clearly took strong liberties with how they translated smallpox scars to being a giant gash across her face, the Francis Drake in Fate does have red hair like Elizabeth I, adding overall credence to this idea. So, of course, fans would latch onto the idea that a queen would forsake royalty to live a life on the high seas and become one of the most influential navigators in human history, whose legendary status has been equated to that of King Arthur. In real life, Queen Elizabeth I was a virgin queen, never having a suitor, in public knowledge anyway. Speculations were, of course, made, one potential partner being thought to be the privateer, Francis Drake, which is where the inspiration for the romantic angle comes from. But the two fully swapping places isn't so hard to believe, though we would have to accept that the original Francis Drake in Fate's history was Bishonen as hell. On Elizabeth's part, Francis Drake would have been lesser known at the time, as they would have swapped before his legend was made, so that, and having a scarred face, she could probably get away with posing as a man, granted she would have to close her coat. And for Drake, Queen Elizabeth I is known for wearing heavy white lead paint to cover her scars and being very reclusive, even removing all mirrors from the palace at one point. So Drake could have used that as an excuse to live a cushy life as Queen of England with all the power that he could want and barely worry. Now, does this mean that Francis Drake has been a pretender posing as a writer this entire time, and they have ample opportunity to do really cool story stuff with that, but likely won't because they're cowards? Yes, it does. Still, while that is the example that I can give to best explain the simple way of how Pretender works, the actual first revealed Pretender in Fate is a bit less cut and dry. So Vortigern was summoned into the British Lost Belt as himself, but due to the influence of proper human history's Morgan, Oberon ended up getting mixed into him. The fairies of the Welsh forest saw him as their king of the fairies. And so, a lie was made. He embodied Oberon and became Oberon while still remaining Vortigern. It's honestly kind of convoluted and is hard to wrap your head around the specifics, but overall it was a very effective and well done story beat. A servant completely hidden in plain sight, nearly undetectable. Even to the world itself, he was unseen for what he truly was. A big surprise for the players too. But that ends up becoming a problem for the whole class, doesn't it? In Fate Grand Order at least, we will generally receive the servant with the class already being known And even if they do a bait and switch again, it can never be as big of a scale as Oberon Vortigern. That's not to say that we haven't gotten true pretenders, though. Hephaestion, for example, in Elmaloy was the class Faker, being the body double of a body double, taking on a role in another's stead. That easily translates to be a pretender. They didn't really even need to add the extra stuff that they do with her. We also have the one from Lost Belt 7, but I'm not getting into story spoilers that far ahead for my NA viewers. But I do know people didn't pop off with anything about a reveal for her. Still, the point is that with how FGO works, it's hard to do another pretender the way they should be done, as we will likely know that they are already a pretender. We will automatically know that they aren't who they are claiming to be, or if it is hidden, it's not going to be like it was with Oberon Vortigern. I even lampshade this fact with my own pretender servant, Eve Lilith. First having Eve try to claim to be a ruler despite the class card, and then Lilith lamenting the point of this class if she isn't able to properly use its main ability of being a pretender. Also, in her case, it is Lilith pretending to be Eve, using the fact that they are both the first woman and taking advantage of the notion that people will expect Eve, thus cementing the concept of her as Eve when summoned. Check out the video in the corner for more about her. Also, while I'm plugging already, it would mean so much if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel for more fan servants and fate videos like this. That'd be really cool. But for the other pretenders that we have, it's Lady Avalon, 9 Dragon Tattoo Eliza, and Kate Ku. 2 of them are summer servants, which don't count for anything, and Eliza is a Halloween Liz, all of whom shouldn't be taken seriously unless it's to seriously love them dearly. I've seen way too many people try and piece together why they're pretenders when the reasoning presented is so loose. And it just fundamentally does not matter. Seasonal servants are just for funsies, people. Santa Carna is a saber because of a pun. Summer Tomoe uses VR to fight, and Liz has 2 robot doppelgangers. Are you really looking for serious and deep lore in a seasonal servant? The most you're getting in that department is BB and Abby. I don't know why, but they decided that outer god-related nonsense was going to be lore-rich for summer. Don't ask me. Also, I'm not sure if Knock counts for any lore thing, because technically, that's the only summonable version of her, so it feels unfair. Anyway, solution time. You know where a pretender class would actually get to shine? Outside of Fate Grand Order. Have a pretender in a game or a light novel, manga, anime, whatever. That could be out of this world. Imagine if, for Fate Extra Record, they did drop the Francis Drake pretender thing, or in Samurai Remnant, Musashi is revealed to be a pretender at the end. How mind-blowing would that be? Obviously, the twist would have to be implemented and pulled off well to get the full effect and payoff, but you get the idea. Media outside of Fate Grand Order is where pretenders can thrive, as long as they don't oversaturate it. And I honestly do hope a Fate title comes out soon that has a pretender reveal at some point. I am very much looking forward to that happening one day. Let me know if you're looking forward to that too down in the comments below. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time in the void. Later.